Welcome back to What Arty Noobs with General Disturbance. You're looking at a KV-1. It's the Tier 5 Soviet heavy tank. It's located on North Spawn of Ensk Encounter and it's being driven by Ricochet47. And he sent in a couple of games in the KV-1, which is basically the heavy tank that you should try to get to first if you want to learn heavy tank tactics. Game started. Well, I can tell straight away that he's got the 85mm gun because it's a long, thick barrel rather than the short, thin one you get with the 57mm. The standard gun that most KV-1s are actually armed with was the ZIS-5, which is a 76mm gun, and that does considerably less damage than the 85mm, which will do 160 alpha. And oh, he's driven into that post. You can't destroy that. Yeah, 160 alpha, penetrating 120mm with standard ammo, and he's mostly loaded that, and he's got a few premium rounds. They'll go through 161mm. Well, it appears that somebody from the enemy team has made their way into the cap circle already. It's probably a bit early. In fact, there's 3 of them, and that could be very bad for them, because if you go into the cap circle, we know where you are, and there's a great temptation to get resets to get a defender's medal. And there's not many places you can actually hide from the enemy whilst you're in the cap circle, and we know there's somebody in there. Okay, right, we've got several targets to aim at. There's no target there or there, he's just around the corner. You're gonna have to get a bit closer. They've almost capped out though. There's one of the dangers with an encounter battle is sometimes people don't cat out, and we've got a stuck turret on the game. Yep, that's a fault in the replay programming. It's nothing to do with the actual client, it's more to do with Wargaming didn't fix the problem. Gets a second shot into the Su-76M, and in fact he's being shot at by a Strodny Viz-39, the Czech medium tank. It's only tier 4, I'd ignore that and go straight into the cap. You've got some more tanks to take out. There's the SU. Well, we missed out on that one, but there's more enemy tanks just around the corner. Go for the gun shield. The gun shield's the weak spot. You can easily pen the gun shield. He's aiming for the body of the tank. That's a mistake. Go for the gun shield every time. He did get 162 hit points there, but you've got to aim the gun shield on that. You'll easily kill that tank by aiming at the gun shield. Okay, he's got 2 in now. Fires 1 into the cruiser. He's got some more XP, and he's going to deal with that Strodny. Yeah, but I keep going into the cap area. Put one more shot into him. Oh! Well, you hit the Panzer III instead of the cruiser tank. I'd say stay out of sniper view altogether and just go around the corner and aim using the little reticule. Okay, the cruiser tank's come out now, and he's a goner because the shells will go straight through his armour. He just hasn't got enough armour to protect himself. It's another shell. He's got a fire, and he's got a kill. That's his first kill of the game, surprisingly. But the second kill is about to die. That's the Strodny Viz-38, or 39 I should say. Designed in 1939. Or was it designed? I think it actually went into action in 1939, although it wasn't accepted. I think it was designed. Okay, he's got a Panzer III behind him, and although he's gone into the cap circle, I think that is a bit of a mistake, even though the AMX-40 is capping. And I did say that the enemy made a bit of a mistake going into the cap area because it invites everybody to come and shoot at you. Now I'd stay out of sniper view because you'll get kind of tunnel vision with sniper view, and it's much easier to get hits. Whoa. That's better. That's how you should be fighting it. Out of sniper view. Much easier to aim at the enemy this way. Now, Ricochet47 sent in a couple of replays. Initially, he said he was a bit angry that, or he sent a message in chat on one of the, or the comments of one of the other videos, that he was a bit annoyed that he didn't get his video on the channel. But he hadn't actually sent the replays to the correct email address, which is in the description. And furthermore, he'd only given it a short while before he complained that he hadn't had his replay. Some people have been waiting up to 2 years for their replay, and you're complaining that you haven't had it in 4 weeks. Well, yeah, I think actually you do need to wait a little longer and have a bit more patience. Now this is much better because you see you've got better situational awareness all around. You can see where the enemy is. As long as you stay out the vehicle, you can then get shots on target. He got a shot into the Panzer III Ausführung J. And another one. Oh, he missed that one. Yeah, sometimes it's better to actually stay out of sniper view altogether and just auto-aim on target. That's it. Fire. Yeah, well, he ricocheted off, but he did hit the target. Now, go on to this Panzer III. Yep, taking him out. That's his third kill. Can he get another one? Ricochet's on. Reticule's on target. He puts one in. There's only 3 enemies left, but there's only 4 on their team. That one missed. We've got a Stug 3B just around the corner there, and I think he can get shots on that guy. He hit the Panzer III again. Now he's playing peek-a-boom very successfully, but you can shoot underneath the railway carriages sometimes. Unfortunately, he's just too close at the moment, but there goes the Panzer III. There's a T-34 1941 off in the distance. He just hit us with his 76mm gun, but it didn't do any damage. Just hit the critical, hit the tracks. And now we're going after the last enemy. And yes, the Arty gets him. And he happened to be his platoon mate. Dead weight 11. Here's the end of battle stats, and that was the first class tanker for Ricochet47 in the KV-1. He got a bruiser medal for getting at least 5 critical hits. He got 10, and he got a hand of gold for surviving the battle, having received damage from 4 different enemy vehicles, as well as an arsonist because he set light to one of the enemy and they burned up. I think that was the Cruiser Mark IV. And was it the Cruiser? Yes, I think it was the Cruiser. He also got a duelist for taking down 2 tanks who damaged him, a fire for effect for doing more damage to hit points for his own vehicle, a fighter badge for getting at least 4 kills, he got 4 exactly, and a shell proof for blocking more damage than the hit points for his own vehicle. He reset enough tanks to get a defender medal, and that's 70 or so defense shots or defense points, as well as a cool headed for surviving 10 or more ricochets, non-penetrations, a steel wall for blocking the most damage in the game, and also a high caliber for dealing the most damage in the game. So he was the most effective, and that's because he went to the cap to make sure that the enemy didn't win by capping up very quickly. Let's have a look at team score. Well, we can see he got the most damage with 2,436 hit points, the second highest damage being the Stug 3 Ausführung B on his own team, who managed to get 1,484, and the third highest damage in the game was actually that Panzer Kampfwagen 3 Ausführung J, who managed to get 1,089 hit points. His platoon mate only got 121, but he did get that kill towards the end that finished the game, the 1941. When it came to kills, he had the highest number, but he shared it alongside that Stug 3 Ausführung B. Both got 4 kills apiece. 3 kills went to the Stug 3 Ausführung B on the enemy team, and then there's 2 kills for the other Stug, and also for the other Panzer III J and the Cruiser. When it came to base XP, he easily had the top there with 1,193. 765 went to the Stug 3 Ausführung B, and 527 went to an AMX CLC, who must have spent most of his time out in the field. He fired 24 rounds, got 19 direct hits and 16 penetrations. Damage of 2,436 hit points, all of it at close range. 38 shots from the enemy. Oh, he more than qualified for the steel wall, because you only need 11 shots and to survive the battle and to get them block the most damage to get the steel wall. But 38 is a huge amount. I think most of those tanks were having great difficulty trying to penetrate his armour, which is very strong armour. 10 penetrations though. 27 non-penetrations and 1 hit by way of splash. He blocked damage of 1,790 hit points in total. 2 enemy vehicles were spotted, 6 enemy vehicles damaged, 4 killed and 121 hit points of damage assistance. He reset the cap enough times to get 100 defense points. In fact, he must have exceeded it because the 100 is the maximum you can do, and I'm pretty sure that he reset it more than enough times to get over 100. 31,633 credits on a premium count, 30,000 for personal missions completion, and after repair, ammunition, resupply and consumables, he took away a profit of 73,650 credits. 1,193 XP times 2 for the first victory, 895 from personal reserves, 3,580 from personal missions payout, and because he was playing in a platoon, he got 269 from that as well. So a total of 8,324 experience points altogether. So that's quite a good mission on personal experience. So yes, that was the first battle. As you can see, quite an interesting battle. Ensk battles are good if you are in a tank. They're not so great if you're in an Arty, because there aren't that many places you can hide and fire from and survive the battle. It's yeah, kind of a difficult map. In fact, it's one of my blocked maps. I just simply won't play it unless, of course, I'm in a tank and I'm forced to play it, because that's the meta that comes up. But anyway, let's have a look at the second battle. The second battle is on the north spawn of Steppes. Game on. Now, this battle actually took place a few hours after the last one, but obviously he stopped platooning with his teammates in the intervening period. Now, the KV-1 got the initials KV from Kliment Voroshilov. He was the Soviet defense minister at the time. And after he managed to get that KV name, actually, or initials, attached to his tank, I think the chairman, or rather Papa Joe as he's known, Papa Joe Stalin, was actually quite annoyed that he didn't get his name on a tank. And that's why the next series of tanks that was actually designed had the letters IS. And IS in Soviet terms was Joseph Stalin, because you spell the Joseph with an I, not a J. So yes, KV tanks were after the defense minister, and IS tanks were named after Papa Joe himself. Well, he's gone down this side of the map on the medium tank line of the map, rather than going over to the west side. That could make them vulnerable to an attack on that side, but there is a Cavalier and a Wolverine there just in case. So let's see how he gets on. Now, the KV-1 was first started development in 1938, and they had the prototype by August of 1939. It actually saw action in December of 1939 during the Winter War with Finland. But after building 2,769 of them, they stopped building them in August of 1942 because they had even better tanks that they could build instead. And by that time, of course, they were working already on the KV-3. In fact, they had the prototypes of the KV-3, and so they were working on that, as well as the IS series of tanks as well. So yes, they did build a lot of KV-1s, and they built a lot of KV-1Ss as well, which was designed off this tank. Now, this tank is actually quite good when it's angled, because it does increase the armour even more. And I must say, the Finns had a devil of a job trying to penetrate the armour on the KVs. Virtually none of their anti-tank guns, which at the time were very low caliber, were able to penetrate the armour. You can see he's actually getting those 85mm rounds through the enemy, and look at that Stug, very, very cheeky. Came over the top, and now we've got a Panzer III Ausrung, I think it's a J, it is a J, as well, all trying to attack him at the same time. And he hasn't lost, well, much in the way of hit points already, but he's certainly doing a lot of damage to the enemy. That's it. The weak spot, as most of you know by now, is that little bar across the front of the vehicle where the driver's hatch is, the viewport and the machine gun. And if you can get the shell through there, then you should be able to easily take out the enemy. That Panzer III-J made a big mistake going down to the rock, because he managed to get taken out by the T6, and there's the Stug 3 Ausrung G actually. So he hit the really good one, and he's got a high caliber now, potentially 20% of the enemy hit pool. Okay, that is the tank destroyer, the SAU-40. You need to watch out, because that guy can have a pretty good gun, but he has got a weak spot sitting right on top of his turret, on top of his body rather, and you aim for that, that's the easy kill. Well, he's taken him out. Now, this is a much easier kill. The Chi-Nu, very weak armour. He's still trying to take out the KV-1, and he gets him this time. Must have been an inexperienced player. He tracks the Chi-Nu, Now his armor's not up to scratch, so you'll easily get this guy. Nice. That's his 4th kill. There's only 4 enemy tanks left. It is a reduced numbers game. They're 2 tanks less on each side. I think there's only 1 tank round the corner. Yes, and he's pulling away. It's a P2640, the Italian medium tank. And he's taking fire, and we've got 2 other tanks in sight, so we know where... Oh, we've got the last one as well, in sight as well. We can't get the P2640, but we did get the spotting, and he's potentially got a patrol duty. He can't get through the armour of that VK3601H, but it'll... Oh, it's a 3001H, because he's angled correctly, but he actually allowed the M10 behind him to get the kill. Trying to go for the top of the turret on the T-34. Yeah, the M10's the one to worry about. He's got a very good gun. So drive towards that ridgeline, under the cover of the ridgeline. The M10's pulling back because he hasn't got the armour, and that T6 medium's getting some nice shots. And there goes the T-34, which means now there's only 1 enemy left, and that happens to be the M10, and he's just killed, which means that's the end of the game, and it's a victory, and he fires 1. I think that's more of a frustration that he didn't get another kill. Here's the end of battle stats from that game, and it was another first-class tanker from Ricochet47 in the KV-1. This time round he got a Hand of God for surviving the battle, having received damage from 4 different enemies, a spotter badge for spotting at least 1,000 hit points of damage, and he was point man on most of that game, allowing his teammates to get good spotting on the enemy, and they got some kills off his spots as well. Bruiser medal for getting at least 5 critical hits, he got 6. A duelist for taking down 2 tanks who damaged him, a fire for effect for doing more damage than hit points to his own vehicle, a fighter badge for getting at least 4 kills, he got 4 exactly, and a shell proof for blocking the most more hit points than blocking more damage than the hit points to his own vehicle, as well as the steel wall for blocking the most damage in the game, and a high caliber for dealing the most damage in the game. So 2 epics, no, they're battle hero medals in that game, but a nice set of medals all the same. And considering he was point man on the side that you normally go down if you're a medium tank, and he didn't go down the heavy tank way, it looks like most of the enemy must have gone up this way as well. So good choice to go this way. Let's have a look at the team score. Well, we can see he didn't get as much damage as he did in the previous game, 1,923, but I think that's because he was actually on a difficult corner to actually get the damage and pull back without actually taking any damage in return. The second highest scorer was the Stugdrei Ausrung G on his team with 1,558. He didn't survive, and the M10 RBFM on his own on his own side managed to get 1,307. When it came to kills, it was, yes, Ricochet who got the highest number with 4. 3 kills went to the M10 RBFM behind him. The T6, the SU-76 on his team managed to get 2 kills, and only the T-34 on the enemy team managed to get more than 1 kill. When it came to base XP, he's the only player to get over 1,000 with 1,310. 757 went to the M10 RBFM on his team, and 721 to the Stugdrei Ausrung G. He fired 26 rounds in the game, got 20 direct hits and 15 penetrations, damage of 1,923 hit points, all of it at close range, 25 hits received from the enemy, almost as many as the last time, 7 penetrations, 16 non-penetrations, so he was better off this time. I think he was well angled, and the guys that were firing from the other side weren't hitting the right spots, and obviously they just weren't getting penetrations on the tank. 2 hits by way of splash damage as well. 1,650 hit points, damage blocked by armour. 5 enemy vehicles spotted, 7 enemy vehicles damaged, 4 killed, and 1,586 hit points of spotting assist. He earned 33,624 credits from the game, and after repair, ammunition, resupply and consumables, and yes, it was standard ammo throughout, you can tell that, 38,306 credits in profit. 1,310 XP, and this time round he got a mission completion for 7,860. So it was even more profitable on XP in this game than it was on the last one. He came out with 9,825. So the KV-1, yes, it's a good training tank in a sense. I feel that you can learn everything you need to know about how to handle a tank by driving the KV-1. In fact, there are so many guns on the KV-1 that you can actually get fun from playing the different guns under different circumstances. For instance, the 57mm, it has the ability to do 85 hit points of damage from the gun, but that's not a lot of damage, which means you have to get a lot of penetrations on the enemy. It does have a higher penetration value, but it means you're pinpricking the enemy to death, and so it forces you to use all your skills to side scrape on the enemy so you don't take as much damage. So that is quite a fun gun to play. The 85mm, as you saw in this battle, does do a lot of damage, but it's very consistent. So if you just want to practice and have a bit of fun, the 85mm is okay. The 122mm howitzer is, well, the dirt version of the KV-1. It used to be a lot of fun before they did the HE nerf, because you could literally derp an enemy tank out of existence with just one shot. Sadly, now it's a figment of its past self, because what they've done is they've ruined it with the HE nerf, and, well, yeah, not so good. And then there's the 76mm armed, the original version, which of course most KV-1s were armed with the ZIS-5 cannon. And yes, that's just for authenticity. To try and win with the ZIS-5 gun is very difficult. So those people who like a challenge, they'll take the 76mm gun. But it is the stock gun that you first get in this vehicle. And so a lot of people, they start getting hit by the 76mm gun, they'll think that you've actually just got the stock version of the tank. But if you're actually quite an accomplished player, then you can frighten them when you suddenly start doing things that they don't expect you to do. Anyway, that's the KV-1 for you. On the other side of the fence, I would say to Ricochet47, try and be a bit more patient about sending in your replays, because there's a long list of people who want to get their replays on our channel. And just because you haven't seen it after you sent it in, say, a couple of weeks beforehand, doesn't necessarily mean you've been ignored. But I would say that if you do email the links into the replay site, do send it to the address listed in the description. And if you don't get a response straight away, because you should get a response saying thanks, that I've received it, so that lets you know I have seen it. If you don't get a response, then you can always send it in again. And if I do see it again and I say, and I forgot to send in the thanks response, then obviously I'll make sure that I've seen it the second time. But do try to be patient, because there are lots of people who send their or put their links to the replays on the Facebook page, and I'll pick them up from there as well. And then they all go into the list. At this moment, I've got about 2,500 replays that are waiting to be done. Most of those are much older than this particular period. They're a particular client. Some of them go back as far as I said 4 years ago. I've still got replays from 2017 that are waiting to be done, but I just haven't got the time to do all these replays. So yes, if you do send in replay, wait for that response to say thank you that I've received it, and then please be patient, because it will go into the list, but it may take a little while before it appears. The other thing I always ask as well is try and make the game something that's exciting, that it does get medals, or something unusual happens in the game. Let me know what it was, if it was an unusual thing, because people like to see the unusual. But if it's just a run-of-the-mill game and there was no medals, I might not be able to feature that replay simply because it was just too, how should we say, ordinary. And most people have ordinary games all the time. So yes, it might not get done if it's an ordinary game, but if it's a good game, yes, it very likely will be done. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed that blast from the past in terms of the KV-1. Again, we do try to mix and match between high-ranked or high-tiered vehicles as well as low-tier, and also to have a few Arty games in there, because after all, that's what this channel is. What's Arty Noobs? And so there will be more games very, very shortly. Yes, I think I've got a couple of really good replays coming up, so do stick around and see which ones they are. If you enjoyed this replay, please give this video a like, do subscribe to our channel, leave a little comment down below because it feeds the algorithm. And please do remember, we've got a second channel called The General, where you can actually see replays without any commentary whatsoever, and most of them get a lot of medals. They're really interesting games, and it takes it takes an unusual person to get onto that channel, simply because they are very special players. Thanks for watching.